Hello and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford and I'm excited to be here with you again for another special edition on E360 TV. And what is going on in the world? There is a lot of change, a lot of shift happening. Stress is at an all-time high. People are wondering what, right? What do I do next? How do I navigate these uncertainties, emotional landmines that are coming, it seems like out of nowhere, some expected, some unexpected, and you find yourself actually in a state of overwhelm. One of the things that I'm excited about is we know that mental health matters just as much, if not more so, than our physical health. It drives everything. And we have an amazing guest who will be coming on today to talk about how we can navigate these uncertainties, how we can take back that sense of empowerment and control in our lives. He's going to talk about some tools, and this will be none other than Richard Morden. And we'll be right back so that I can introduce you to Richard. Welcome to the show, Richard. How's it going?
Very good. I'm grateful to be here. I'm looking forward to our chat, and it's an excellent opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to be talking about Inside Job, discovering emotional success by design. And before we get into it, Richard, I just want to tell everyone a little bit about you. Richard is a neurolinguist, a certified neurolinguistic practitioner, as well as an emotional freedom technique practitioner. He is the co-founder of a technique called time sweeps. So we're going to explore what does that mean, what these tools are, how we can add them to our emotional toolbox as that safety net, resource, strength builder, just like we're building those muscles so that we can navigate change when it happens. Because when we keep living, life does happen. Shift does happen, right, Richard?
I'm glad you said that properly, yes.
Well, one of the things you said life is an inside job. And the second part you said, there is safety in the now. The unconscious knows what's best. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and why is that mindset around mental well-being so important to you?
We've been so conditioned to, external events. We grew up as a baby in a sense of our world is so external. We're such a receptive to that external process and that, and so that's how our nervous system develops. That's how we developed, our thoughts and feelings. 0 to 7 is our foundation. Everybody agrees on that, and all those years of those early growth and all the experiences sort of become a blueprint that carries on the rest of your life. So when you have all these experiences, and a lot of it is, we said we're taught to always be careful of what the world shows you, but it's how we choose to receive it. It's how we choose to perceive it. And again, in those early stages where some things come up and they make us nervous, or they're loud noises, or maybe we've had some, certain experiences. And every child has all kinds of experiences, just in general. But how we, again, to those unfold the rest of our life. You said, well, that was when I was a kid. But those sensations, those impacts, those create little timestamps, and you are still active in your system decades later. And that creates, like I said, your personality, your reaction. And as Napoleon Hill said, we don't inherit our life, we inherit our habits and our patterns, and how we were treated, how we behave. So again, it's all, and the world tells us it's all external, do this, but it's again, how we choose to receive it in our body and how we choose to receive it in our mind. And that's, there's two different things there. And I'll stop there and I'll let you ask more questions about that.
Yeah, I like what you said. So we've got two forms of inputs, if you will. What's happening externally, so impacting our mind and impacting our bodies. And I know when I was in college and going through my psych class, I was amazed to hear that who we are or who we are slated to be is actually impressed upon us by the age of 5. Like you said, our beliefs, how we show up. And there's this, I believe, this genetic code in our DNA that does pass through the bloodline. I don't think everything is just environmental. You know, you'll see children, it's like, wow, he never met his grandfather, but he seems to have the mannerisms of the grandfather, right?
Yeah.
But I also believe, because we are creative beings, that we can shift that. We don't have to be victimized by what happened before us and just settle and say, well, this is it. You know, this is who I am. I'm just this way. I always panic when life happens. I don't know anything else. And I think that tends to be a fallback. Any excuse will do.
Yeah.
But what I've heard from you, just the things that I've looked up about you, it's like this new positioning in your life in outreach to others actually challenges us to take a little bit of accountability and responsibility in how we can shape shift, if you will, our life around us. What are your thoughts?
Well, when you said childhood, they talk about, there's a book called It Didn't Start With You. And they said we inherit generational trauma 7 generations deep. So that's just not in one straight line. That's a lot of people that impact us. But still, as we come into our life and our experiences, we realize we have choice. And I will say a turning point for me was 2006. Somebody gave me the movie The Secret, and I watched it because everybody's telling me this is the movie, you know, this is how I create our life. And all I got from the entire movie was you create your life by the way you think. And that's that phrase which was somehow landed in my noggin. And I thought, okay, what the heck does that mean? Because, you know, in my world at that time, I had a wonderful external world, but the way I grew up and raised and through a lot of events, I wasn't the happiest person inside. Just, I didn't show it, you know? So when I looked at that, how do you create your world by the way you think? I spent 6 years digging into everything I could possibly find to understand what that actually meant. But I realized at the end, or not at the end, but around 2012, I said the way we think and how we feel about the way we think is what is attracted to us. You know, because feelings and sensation in our bodies. So and I want to say this, we give too much credit to our mind. I'm sorry, our mind's not that important, you know, because our body sensations, how we think and how we feel, the body has its own intelligence. And so when I talk a lot of this, I'm talking to the body, not to the mind, because we get confused up there trying to think we can just outthink our emotional problems. And it's not, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that at all. You have to treat the body and methodologies to help the body regulate. And then there's some co-creation, but until the body learns to regulate, you know, and through, you know, nervous system regulation, it's going to rule the mind with all the chemicals it produces, and therefore the mind's got at the mercy of it many times. And I won't go into the science of that because that's not my field, but I understand it from the way I've been trained.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I feel, you know, we're spirit, mind, and body, and there definitely is an impact on. I mean, you think about mood altering things. You consume a lot of sugar, it really affects level of hyperactivity or inability to sleep, which then, you know, creates a spiraling effect. So yeah, there definitely is a lot of control and influence, like you said, the body has on the mind. Mm-hmm. But we're neither the mind nor are we the body. But that's another conversation.
Well, if I may add one thing, because the book, Kessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps the Score. Because when things are happening, your body's response is the one that's reacting, not your mind. You know, if you take war veterans and all the impacts in that, so the body is the one that's reacting and therefore driving the mind in many ways. So because the traumas are stored in the body. You know, so those trauma triggers are there. So it starts there first, and then it starts to stimulate the mind. So we understand that instead of trying to always work from the mind down, I go from the body up. Just the way I think, and I'm not alone in that. then we understand what we need to, where we need to take care of.
You mentioned that the trauma is stored in the body, and just from the conversations around mental and emotional health, we think that we understand, okay, when individuals go to war or, there's a major catastrophic incident that happens, we think we understand trauma. But let's talk about microaggressions, those things that happen every single day that keep building and building and building upon itself. How can people understand that they're actually in a growing traumatic state?
Well, again, we've been conditioned to think trauma has to be something very visceral, very hard in impact. But today we're being bombarded with media, with all types of events going on, with stress of financial pressure, lack of housing, food. I mean, every day. So that is a continuation. It's like living next to a person who has a dog that barks all night long, or a child that's screaming its head off. That continually sort of invades your nervous system. So we don't realize that the continuation, the compounding effect that is so detrimental to our health. Again, we've been sort of tricked to think it has to be something hard, physical, and memorable, but a lot of it is unconscious. Like, so much trauma is unconscious that just, again, it drives us insane. The tension, we walk somewhere and why do we feel tension all the time? Why do we feel afraid? But that's just the way our system is today. We are being bombarded very intensely, and it's recognizing that, and then, okay, now what do I need to do to try and mitigate that to the best of my ability?
Yeah. I like that. Thank you for that. This episode, ladies and gentlemen, is for entertainment purposes. It is not intended to diagnose or treat any mental health concerns. For immediate support, we've got contact information below for you. We are here with Richard Morden talking about Inside Job, discovering emotional success, and the key word here, by design. You said that our goal is to create the best version of ourselves by design. Help us understand, what does that mean? If you were to give us 3 tips on how to even begin to formulate what this new framework, this new design ideal looks like, how would we go about that if we're in the state of darkness and we feel trapped and don't see our way out?
I like 3 things I said. One is accountability. This is our journey, and what do we want to do? Because we've been so externalized in the world, in the sense of our responsibility of this journey. Well, because this happens, and I looked at the situation even when I was many years ago. Like, there's only one person here who had the ability to change in my previous marriage to was me. So I took accountability for myself, not blaming the outside world and not looking to the outside world for that validation. And I think that we've been so externally validated. So I was accountable and responsible, and then I took action. And when I looked at that process of trying to understand we create the life by the way we think, but then how do we feel? Then how do I want to feel? And I realized I'm not looking for the outside world to confirm me. Now I think that's the biggest part. We're so much conditioned to the outside world of validation and comparison. Again, it takes away from who you are. So this is me. This is my journey. I'm accountable for it. So how I choose to think, and I spent a long time trying to I had the bad mind trap too. I had the negative aspect, the racing mind. But again, I was able to have a good external world, so nobody knew what was going on. Many people used to look at them and go, "Ooh, let's not go over there." So again, I had a lot of things in my external world that were very, very supportive of me. But my internal world growing up was I would say a little chaotic and kind of harsh, like many of us. I won't go, but it just that was my thinking for up until I was in my 50s. But again, my external world was good. I was accountable. I was responsible. I went to work. I did all the things I needed to do to create my life. So, but again, I was responsible for my life, not someone else. I was responsible for how I felt, how I looked at the world, what I did, how I interacted, and my relationships. I was responsible for all of that, because I didn't come here to hand it off to someone else and think I'm looking for a gift. I always realized this is if it's up to me, it's up to to me to do it. And I said, you're responsible. And again, you'll hear me say, this whole life is an inside job. And it's creating those experiences that we generate from that keep us going and driving forward.
Let's, if you don't mind, just unpackage this a little bit more. And it sounds simple. Be accountable, take responsibility, and then take action. But I'm in a dark space. I'm confused. I don't know which way is up. And honestly, I don't want to take responsibility because it's their fault. They did it. It's mom and dad. If you only knew. Yes. Richard, what would you tell them? What would you say to that person?
Well, as we talked earlier, I like giving people physical tools with the EFT and the regulation. The biggest thing is we can banter that all time, for a long time, depending on your personality, but responsibility. But if you want to really talk about, the tapping for physical tools, you want to regulate your nervous system, because again, you can't have a rational mind when the nervous system is so ramped up. So we're going to have these dark thoughts because there's no bandwidth for a higher frequency in our nervous system. So I give physical tools to people, whether I said that the head holds, the hand holds, the wrist holds and that, and breath holds to work with the body. So we can't logic our way out of this. We can't discuss our way out of this. And I know a lot of people want to talk about other tools and I want physical tools. I found physical processes to really help me in 2013 when I discovered EFT. And that was a game changer because it unpacked some traumas in my body I had no idea even existed. So again, it's not about what comes out of our mouth. It's how we start to take care of our body through somatic healing, through EMDR, through yoga. You start doing physical things. If you want to sit in front of TV and complain, well, that's your journey. I chose physical responses for myself to take action appropriately.
I definitely want us to go into a couple exercises for individuals who've never even heard of EFT, emotional freedom technique, to have an initial experience with you. But before we get into that, Richard, tell me a little bit about how did you come to this point? I mean, like you said, you had this life that was great, but then I know you went through a traumatic loss, and that shifted things for you. Would you mind unpackaging that for us a little bit?
Well, I discovered even young life was temporary. Gives a little backdrop. So, I mean, military father, very kind of harsh and strict, and a silent mother, right? So I said you grew up in that knowing everything you did wrong but not right, and that sort of compacted your inside. You learn to just keep yourself quiet, and I learned that I wasn't allowed to show my emotions, but through life, life experiences, I witnessed my mother's cancer as young and her journey until she died when I was 21, sat by her bed for 9 months while she died. My brother committed suicide in 1988. I was the guy he called before he killed himself. I was the guy and I'm identifying. But in those things, I ended up taking action. I took action looking after my brother's funeral, calling the family. And in 2013, my wife had a brain aneurysm, was going on a business trip. It turns out she was in a hospital. We went down to see her. They gave us a diagnosis. And I said in that moment, she's coming off life support because we know, there's no possible way for recovery. So that was a turning point for me because my kids were sitting beside me, my in-laws, my mother and father-in-law were there. And I said, we're going to let her go and then we're going to, carry on with our life. But that was a turning point to what I said, self-care for myself. Because then after the funeral, I looked around and said, how do I take care of myself? What do I need to do to be again, my best version? And it wasn't really a cognitive thought, but I just discovered emotional freedom technique at the time, just before she had passed, and I was using it as best I could. So I found a course several months later, and I went to this 3-day course. Again, my whole focus was self-care. How do I be dad? I just want to be dad. And that unpacked or unloaded several traumas that I had no idea. One was around my dad that I didn't even no idea I had at the time. And another was my brother's suicide. And this was 2013. He had killed himself in 1988. So I had no emotion at the time. I may have had 20 seconds of tears, but again, it was all business. That's my stress code. When things happen, I take action. And that trauma was so visceral. I was almost like throwing up at the time and really understanding, okay, what else is in here? Because this is so vital for me. And again, when was using it to continue my journey with, I was trying to work with my other colleagues at the time that I'd met in a course, and it didn't work out. So I found another lady in 2014 who became now my mentor and trainer, Nancy Forrester. And I spent 8 months unpacking my emotional journey with her and her Harness Your Power course. So that was fundamental for me, unpacking my emotional journey with her guidance, because I was training to be a practitioner. And it was so formative for me, because then I really understand my journey of self-care, and then who else is going through this. And what really drove me was working with my colleagues. And that was so impactful that I had to, since 2014 on, that is something I am adamant about, is my own self-care. I barter with colleagues back and forth every couple of weeks. I work with other practitioners, always working on my mental and physical process, because this journey is until your last breath. So I'm never done, but I'm enjoying the heck out of the process, because all of it allows me to be more communicating, have better communication skills with myself, feeling more in control of my life, because I took responsibility for that pain and said, how do I resolve it, and how do I maintain it, that I can be the best version of me.
I'm again sorry for these losses. Very, very tragic. And you're right. Sometimes we go on autopilot. Like you said, you're that person, when things happen, you take action, and that's great. That's our survivalist instinct kicking in. But then there's this repression happening, and you begin to wonder why are things the way they are. But you have the presence of mind to say, I know I have to take care of me. I just know that. I think, this is my opinion, Richard, that's a gift that you have of being very self-aware. Even though you may have repressed and you're this action-oriented person, self-awareness is so key, because many people live with their head in the sand. They don't want to acknowledge anything. And they put on the mask. As long as the world thinks I'm okay, then I'm okay. And I continue to tell myself I'm okay. But I never deal with that deep pain. I don't want to go there. If someone, it's one thing when you're dealing with people who knock on your door, Richard, and say, I need help. I know I'm in a bit of a pickle here. And you guide them. How can we provide a place of awareness that people even know that they're in a state that they need that support system, the instruction to guide them, so that they can become stronger and live a life by design?
It's one of I like talking about elephants in a room with a group I host on Saturdays. One is called avoidance. And if you look at it, I can send a little question. What are you avoiding? Because we avoid so much. We avoid relationships. We avoid doing things. We avoid engaging with family members. We just stop doing things. I mean, our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point we barely leave our house. And again, what would we even like? Now, there's always a dream, this whole thing, the dream relationship, the dream this, and I mean, that's all sort of fantasized in a way that we want to, but if I only met the right person, but everything starts with you. So it's no magical person is going to come into your life and rescue you. So you have to start with you, as like, who do I want to be, in the sense of just feeling comfortable with myself, just feeling like I can go out to a coffee shop and have a coffee. But the question is, what am I avoiding? What am I not doing that I would maybe like to do? Even simple stuff, hiking, going to meetups, going to simple ways. And again, we've got so much available online, like so many meetups we could go to, and we can test ourselves. We're safe at home on our Zoom. We can put on we can put on a false persona here if we want, but at least trying things out to find people to connect with.
I love what you were saying, Richard, about giving us these basic questions to help us to become more self-aware and do our own discovery, and before we get on the road to recovery. And the first one is, what am I avoiding? who do I want to be and what am I truly afraid of? And I'm just going to give you this very quick story that I recently experienced after losing Dad in September of last year. Now we're getting ready to celebrate the new year. I was so excited about the new year and the hope that it would offer. But as we got closer to that time, and I'm watching the hands tick, on the clock, thinking, okay, we're getting closer and closer to midnight, I suddenly felt this sense of unease in my body, and I didn't want to be around family. So I left the festivities and came back to my home. And I sat there and I turned on the TV, and then the clock struck midnight, and I'm like, nope, it's not the new year yet. And I went to another channel where, because I'm on the East Coast, where it wasn't yet New Year's Central Time, and I did that for Pacific Time, and I did that to watch Hawaii, in Hawaii. So really protracting, entering into the new year. And I can laugh now, but I realized what it was. I was avoiding the unknown, because this is the first year of my life that I was going to be facing a new year without my father. This was going to be the first year where I didn't have this mentor and my rock by me, helping guide me through this journey. So there was just so much uncertainty. And who did I want to be? I had no clue. I didn't know how to be without him. So these questions, I think if I had had them, may have helped me get through that a little better. But I self-navigated myself. But it was something, when I look back, I smile on it, but it was very traumatic. I mean, and it scared me, Richard, because I thought I so much didn't want to go into the new year that I didn't realize I was telling myself I didn't want to live anymore, not without Dad.
Very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you.
So I want to just reintroduce you a little bit to the audience, and we'll be right back and get into some of your tools that you can share with us and take us through a simple journey.
Hello, my name is Richard Morden. I'm a certified EFT and NLP practitioner, emotional freedom technique, and neuro-linguistic programming. I'm also the co-founder of a methodology called Time Sweeps. As a transformational coach, I guide clients through a powerful journey of self-discovery using my innovative Time Sweeps approach. Drawing from extensive personal experience in my training, I help guide and identify release limiting patterns, enhance emotional intelligence, and cultivate deep self-trust. My methodology connects the dots in your unconscious patterns, creating space for spontaneous growth while nurturing authentic relationships within yourself and others. Are you ready to revolutionize your mental clarity and emotional landscape? Please give me a call.
Are you ready to defy gravity and challenge the impossible? Meet LaWanna Bradford, the visionary leader behind Choose to Challenge on E360 TV. Now in its 5th season, this groundbreaking show shines a spotlight on voices of change from across the globe. Born during the pandemic, Choose to Challenge becomes a platform for transformation where no topic is off limits. Every episode highlights individuals breaking barriers, rewriting narratives, and making an impact. Ready to share your story and inspire change? Call 404-618-2824 to become a guest. This is your moment to rise. Tune in now at e360tv.com. Your voice matters. Let's change the world together.
We are back here on Choose the Challenge with our special guest, Richard Morden. We're discussing Inside Job, discovering emotional success by design. And I see behind you, you have the Time Sweeps. Tell us a little bit about what is Time Sweeps, and then we're going to get into an EFT exercise.
Well, I've been in this personal journey since 2014 with emotional freedom technique, and then 2020, my wife and I went online with COVID. We were studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And then I've been dialoguing with a friend of mine in BC, Wendy Rattel, we just became friends. We were just in conversation again. I got to know her family and her husband and kids, and she got to know ours. And just the discussion of always something else. I mean, no matter how much people do personal work, this personal journey, there always seems to be something else involved, like another, I call it the kaleidoscope effect. Something else falls into place. And I said, there's got to be, when we said, there's got to be an easier way. And one day my wife walked in with just looked at social media and had this meme, and it said, people will remember you in a moment they had the most power over you. And I said, that's a timestamp. Because you deal with it all the time with both modalities. Like there was that event in time, the 5-year-old fighting with a 7-year-old sibling or the mother, and that carries on for, throughout their life. And it's all that sequence, but that it's like a container. And then we looked and we were trying to think, well, what else can we do with this, right? And then we found that we couldn't get timestamp, but we thought we'd try the model time sweep, because I started using a clearing, just go open all time sweeps to this issue, and open, clear, delete, and destroy now. And it was working for us. Just the aspect where it wasn't having to do this great big discovery of trying to, like most modalities, you got to go back to the past or past life, and did it happen? And then with this, I just start with a topic. And we were using it with each other, just clearing day-to-day stuff, right? Because it was topic driven. Like, well, right now I'm struggling with so-and-so. Okay, well, let's just work with that. And I understood too that we carry the energy of relationships in our body. When I was doing my EFT journey with my colleagues, in 2015, as my turn would be the client for the day, and was and I said, "What do you want to work?" "What do you want to work?" And I said, "Oh, my boss, he's driving me nuts. He's micromanaging me. Good guy, but just really hyper." And so we just worked on that, on the energy. What did the energy feel like in my body? And when we cleared it, and it wasn't traumatic, it wasn't a really big discovery, but I went to work the next Monday and we had a new relationship. So this really works with relationships, just clearing the conflicts, because I also started, like I can't seem to get along or have this discussion with my wife about this topic. So we just clear the energy of it. We open all time sheets with this energy, and then whatever nuances come into that, just open, clear, delete. So we're literally just sweeping through the timelines without having to have this huge dialogue of discovery. And I give people a hold while they're doing, so they're regulating their nervous system. And as we're in constant discovery. We've got like 5 pages of dialogue and structure that we've created with us as we continue to explore. But again, it's fun, it's innovative, and allows me to, again, I'm connecting to the unconscious language in the other person's body, because you see them and they're nodding and the body will twitch, because I'm just, whatever's coming in is intuitively resonating with what's in there, what they're holding in. So again, it's fun, it's enlightening. Sometimes I've worked with people for 15 minutes and they've had it just opened up enough that's like, wow, I have some clarity now. I didn't realize what I was not willing to look at. So it's ongoing, but again, it's I don't want to say it's fast, but it's effective in a sense. We're not having to have the client go through all this mental process of what they're avoiding. Because so many people are just, good people, they sit there and they just get stuck, and you're trying to guide them. And I just say, just give me permission. I'll find it.
So this helps it takes them through, I guess it expedites the process.
Yes, that's a good term.
It's topic driven.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go and sit for weeks and weeks doing past life regression analysis.
Yeah. It's, again, very safe. That's my point. It's very, very safe. And I judge where the client, I try and with my skill, with my experience, where is the client right now? Sometimes 20 minutes I'll look in and go, I think that's enough. Just trusting my sense, what my intuition says at the time, to what the client's willing to let go of.
Now you helped develop this time sweep methodology.
Yes.
Is it something that you and your
co-creator,
do you like train the trainer type?
We will be. We're still sort of in the founding stage of it, but and just through she and her husband just retired, so they're going on a 10-week trip. So they've got 2 new grandchildren. So all that energy and time involvement. So we're in constant contact, but we haven't really sat down and planned out the next step yet. But that is our intention, is to train other people.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's with the advent of, or I should say, the growing imprint of technology will enable you to Obviously, you can have your in-person sessions, but you can train all over the world now.
Yeah.
This new technique. So I'm excited. Let's go through EFT. So I'm going to give you a scenario.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. Most people can relate to it. It's on the job front. So I'm a person who has just recently lost my job. I'm stressed. I don't know what's next. I'm just literally at a state of where I'm petrified. I'm frozen, and I don't know what to do because I've been in this career for over 20 years. I thought I was going to retire within the next 2 years, and now I found out my job's been eliminated.
So what we're going to do is just again walk through the tapping points just for reference of what we're doing, so you understand the sequencing I'm doing physically, because we're doing a physical process, but also want to address the present tension in your body. And this is what I really like EFT is. So we say, we've talked about, I just lost this job. So we just said, even though I've just lost this job and I feel really lost. I've just lost this job and I feel so lost right now. I'm terrified. My whole life is shattered. I've just lost this job. So we're acknowledging the pain. We're acknowledging the discomfort. We're acknowledging the fears. We're acknowledging all the sensations in our body. And this could be, depending where you are, very new to this, or just going to spend time acknowledging it, just tapping on, start with this. I've lost this job. I've lost this job. Oh my God. Oh my God. So then we start tapping center of the eyebrow. This job, it was my foundation. I loved it. I really loved this job. And my friends are there inside of the eye. It's like I've known these people so long, all those relationships I'm lost. I'm heartbroken. I'm sad. I'm really sad right now. I feel lost. Those connections at work, I miss those people. They were such good friends. Where do I go? What do I do? It's under the nose. And again, we're just acknowledging everything that comes up. Good, bad, or indifferent. No judgment at all of whatever comes up, just loss. What went wrong? What went wrong? Why? Why now? Why me? Where do I go? I feel lost. I'm on the edge of crying almost all the time. I feel sad. I feel sad for my family. I'm terrified. What do I do? How do I look after them? Who am I? Then either side of the collarbone. Again, there's no right or wrong to what we say here. We're just being really gentle with ourselves in our acknowledgement. We're just being compassionate as we can and feeling the loss. I don't know what to do. And this may go on for 10 or 15 minutes. It seems a little monotonous, but what we're doing is we're regulating the nervous system. This is a physical process. So again, under the arm, one armpit, one hand with below the armpit. Just I'm lost. I'm afraid. I don't even know where to go. And as I'm tapping with you, we're co-regulating. You can do this on your own, but when I'm tapping with you, our systems are regulating together because I'm holding space. So I'm just here, and again, I'm not reaching out to you. I'm holding my own space so your nervous system can regulate itself. And then top of the head, I feel lost. I feel lost. And I want to cry. And I want to cry. And I say, if there's emotion, let them come. Let the tears come. Feel the emotion. Let the tears come. You're safe. You're safe. You're safe to cry. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. And we may do several rounds like this. And then we'll go back to the hand and we just say, even though I've had all this chaos, I choose to love and accept myself. Now here's the turning point. I ask, on a scale of 1 to 10, how true is that? They may say 0. So I'll say, I choose to accept that I don't accept myself, that I must have done something wrong. This is where I want to talk about people's truth. And I'll go again. So we find our acceptance. I accept that maybe I screwed up somewhere. I feel so like I betrayed myself. Okay, I accept that. What's my truth in the moment? And then we'll go back around to the tapping sequences around the body, feeling lost, feeling lonely, whatever comes up. But the biggest point of this whole thing is the acknowledgement of self wherever you are, because we're so used to being into this, what I call the affirmations, and I'm not a fan. Because affirmations are so counter to who you are. You're lying to yourself. The people that I knew that were the big exterior happy people, and in truth, when you see the years later, found out they had the most miserable lives and they were not healthy. So I talk about your truth, and your truth maybe something went wrong at that work and you did something, or maybe something else. Acknowledge yourself in all aspects. I go into I literally go into I teach another side of this called the rant. When we're really frustrated, we tap and we rant, and we just, whatever comes to mind, whatever guttural stuff wants to come out of our mouth, we process. That's our truth. That's our rage. Because how many of us grew up not being able even to honor our anger? Women, men don't be angry, so we're stonewalled. Women not be angry, and they're quietly depressed, and just and that just continues to evade in their nervous system.
Right. So, and I like that. So it takes you through this contemplative state.
Yes.
Tapping into your nervous system, calming it so that you can have clarity and hear it, right? Hear what it's saying to you. Then what? Now that I've acknowledged I'm angry, I didn't do anything wrong. I feel, I'm still here. I'm still in this place.
Yeah.
And you said you're not a fan of affirmation. So then how do I shift that to create a new design or a new pathway for myself?
Okay, yeah. Let me reframe that, because I'm not a fan of just affirmations on their own. I'm a fan of the confirmation of where you are, and now we can build up the process. Okay, I feel good. I've done some time regulating. I'm not in panic mode. I'm not overwhelmed. Okay, now I want to plan for my next phase. Okay, I'm hurt, but I want to plan to apply for a new job or my new framework. So I'm going to start tapping. Okay, I'm ready to fill out some paperwork and create, this new employment. What do you call for yourself? The identity of who I'm going to be for my next job, or the application. I'm just going to start filling out these applications and identifying my skill sets. And all my skill sets, we forget how skilled we are. So I'm going to acknowledge myself for all the work I've done, and all the skills I've developed. Because many times at jobs, we've taken on many courses, we've added so much to our repertoire. So I'm going to acknowledge myself for all that hard work and self-development I've done, and how I've applied myself. And I'm going to say at my job, if it was good, I was a good employee. I was a good coworker. I love these people. I was responsible with them. I was a very good team member at this job. I want you to acknowledge all your benefits, all the things you did well with that job. And then just go through that, and you're starting to sort of regain your confidence, your confirmation of the skills you have, the qualities that you brought. Maybe you highlight some of your experiences, the projects you worked on, and the successes. And many of us have done good things, projects. So we've all just acknowledging your successes, but those are true. And how much hard work you did for those successes. So you said, yeah, okay, I did this. Yeah, the job's gone, but I'm still me. And that's important. This is maybe gone, but I'm still me. I'm worth a lot to me. And I'm going to acknowledge me because damn, I was good, and I am good. And so we build into that. So the job is just where we went for a situation, for a circumstance, for employment. But now we look at ourselves like, man, I can go here because they don't have what I have. So it's not arrogance, it's confidence in a sense of what you have acknowledged in your journey. Because we've been so told to dismiss ourselves. Oh, don't be so uppity. You don't be arrogant. Don't be so selfish. It's like, it's not selfish, it's self-full.
Yes.
I teach self-care by self-full, because then The world isn't going to acknowledge or confirm you. You have to too, but being authentic about it.
I like that. So it's not selfish, it's self-full. And the fact that you are now tapping into your truth and speaking that, right? Reminding, because you mentioned, we forget.
Yeah.
So we create this wall of remembrance that we're now able to look at and applaud just how brilliant and amazing that we are and the great things that we've done. And in this situation, I just want to speak out to the audience listening. There's a lot of people in that. I specifically picked that scenario who were confused. We hear it on the news. Lots of layoffs and changes are happening. And you are more than that job. And I definitely want you to reach out to Richard Morden if you need to explore this even more. But emotional freedom technique is one of the tools that he offers on your journey of discovery and design. Right, Richard?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Because the world wants to diminish us, and we have to stand up for ourselves in an authentic way and be ourselves. And look what we've created within ourselves with the great family relationships around us.
I love that. We're going to do a quick breakaway, and then we'll come back. And Richard has something for us, so he's going to have a spotlight feature. So get ready. All right, Richard, I'm going to turn it over to you. We're anxious to hear what you have for us.
As a transformation coach, I guide clients through a powerful journey of self-discovery using an innovative approach we call Time Suite. Drawing from extensive personal experience and my training as in EFT and NLP, I help you identify and release limiting patterns, enhance emotional intelligence, and cultivate deep self-trust. My methodology connects the dots in your unconscious patterns, creating space for spontaneous growth while nurturing authentic relationships with yourself and others. Are you ready to revolutionize your mental clarity and emotional landscapes? Break free from inherited limitations and discover unprecedented flexibility in your responses to life. My approach stimulates exciting opportunities for spontaneous growth, helping you win at the competition that matters most, the one within yourself. Develop significant relationships built on ethical foundations, starting with yourself. My coaching fosters personal growth and harmony with your true values, contributing to both your individual fulfillment and your impact on your coaching, your community. Using research-backed approaches, I help you master the logic of your emotional patterns and gain accurate insights into your unconscious drivers. Together, we'll develop the intelligence to see the big picture of your life. Experience proven system process that create predictable transformation. My Time Suite methodology provides structure needed to address deep-seated patterns while establishing responsible foundations for lasting change. What clients experience: enhanced self-trust and reduced self-doubt, freedom to speak their truth with confidence, ability to set boundaries by saying no more often and easily, release generational patterns that no longer serve them, profound shifts from burnout to balance. Ready to create a new foundation for your life? The journey begins within. Let's build those small successes that compound into your life that you truly desire, one authentic step at a time. My philosophy is life is an inside job, and it begins and ends within you. I have the blueprint. You supply the details for your own incredible journey. And to further assist you the journey with you, the client, I use a cutting-edge communication tool that gets straight to the heart of what moves people into action. It's called Bank Methodology, developed by renowned entrepreneur and behavioral expert Sherry Tree through Codebreaker technology. It's a simple, powerful, built for real-world results in business and life. This isn't just personality theory. It's results-driven system that helps decode how you and others make decisions, especially under pressure. Whether you're leading a team, selling a product or building better relationships with your partner or kids, bank gives you the competitive edge. And because it's based on values, not fluff, you'll begin to understand what drives trust, loyalty, and connection in others. You'll also learn to spot when someone is in their stress zone versus normal flow and adapt your communication accordingly. That's emotional intelligence at work, and it can be a game changer. As practical as it is insightful, bank is easy to learn and immediately applicable. It's backed by data developed by experts and already used by entrepreneurs, coaches, and top performers worldwide. Let's unlock your communication advantage and start closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. I am very blessed to have this opportunity to speak to you. Thank you. And please reach out to me through the contacts I'll be providing below. Thank you.
This is great. The show has been eye-opening, and I just learned something. I've never heard of the bank methodology, so you're causing me to really want to lean in and learn more, because we know in the corporate world, we're taking all of the Myers-Briggs and other exams to determine, our alphabets.
Yep.
And so and I just want to, if we could just pause for a moment here. You're saying that this helps us to decode how we make decisions, how we respond to others, identifying our state of being.
Yes.
And you said it's a game changer for the entrepreneur. Speak specifically to that entrepreneur business owner, please.
The way Sherry brought this up, because she was in sales trying to sell, and she realized through discovery, I think she got into the Plato's Greek mythology on this, because we have 4 personality types, what they created. One called action, one called nurturing, one called knowledge, and one called blueprint. Very specific and values. They've spent years now. So each one has 12 key values, and and they go in a sequence. So I'm like a nurturing knowledge action blueprint. I am a natural caregiver. I love to discover things, but also I'm willing to take action on it. Blueprints are something, and what each one does too is action. They can be very spontaneous, but also very, very chaotic. Unpredictable, unreliable, like that. But again, they're the top salespeople. Nurturing people, we're the natural caregivers, but we've been so abused in a sense we didn't have any boundaries. We're the natural person we want, but we give ourselves away. We're the people pleasers. Knowledge is the thinkers. They're the ones that seem arrogant, but they research everything. They'll let me think about it. Give them details. They love details, so they seem to want to ponder, but they can get lost in it too. But they're the people that when you want a problem, they're your IT people. Here's a problem. They'll come up with all the plans, and again. And then in blueprint, they're the rules. They're the rule followers. They're the system followers. They're the people at the airport that won't let your luggage on because you're half a pound over. Them, it's just natural. But and there's rules how you engage with them. So each one has their engagement process, and there's 24 combinations. And I'm learning it again. I saw this in 2020. I wasn't ready for it, so I'm taking it now. The course I invested in, and it's really helping me understand myself better, and my wife Angela too, because when you get into the stress code, her stress code is she goes in all these rules. The blueprint shows up, and you're like, so so understand where people go on their stress code. Some people's stress code is knowledge, and they just need more. They won't take action, so you have to feed them the information. And the like the nurturing people, how almost have to tailor back. We have to stop giving ourselves away. Because the less we give ourselves away and the more sort of boundaries we create, the better relationships we have. So it's looking at it from fresh eyes, and it's just I'm having a blast, because I need to be more conversational in the other personalities to be more effective in promoting my work, authentically.
I love this. I hate that we're out of time. There are like so many questions that I have.
Okay.
I'll have to text you offline about some of these, but I think this is just so great. It's been a very rich conversation to help us unmuddy the waters, to get unstuck, to take back our power, and to redesign our lives with intention and with purpose. And want to read this quote of yours. I love this. It says, "There is safety in the now. The unconscious knows what's best." And I just want to leave our audience with that. If you are in this place where you know you need to uncover, discover, unpackage, peel back the onion, and find a way to tap into your emotional and physical state of being so that you can craft and design the life that you want, to have that ease and flow. Because life is going to happen. Those waves are going to come, right, Richard? Please reach out to Richard Morden. Follow him for more information. We'll have all of his contact information for you moving forward. Richard, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been an absolute blast and an honor to be here. I'm so grateful. Thank you, LaWanna.
And to our listening audience, we'll look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Choose to Challenge. And remember, always in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, and this here, folks, is an opportunity, success is inevitable. Until next time, be safe, be well. Bye, Richard.
Thank you.